let's do a little retrospective of Erimos Prime. We kind of completed the mod planet, we got back up into space, we got back to Novice, but the mod kind of never really said goodbye. And maybe that's because we broke something when we were kicking around the code with the 5th area, changing how the crystal charging worked, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more likely that it's just a new mod that still hasn't figured out what this 5th area wants to do or be. We might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So Aramos is a very new mod, it's still being refined, it's still being iterated. This is not really a mod review, it's kind of more user feedback weaponized as YouTube content. So maybe there are spoilers here, maybe it looks nothing like it does when you get around to playing it. Aramos is a wave defense themed mod, but also a kind of escape room mod. You move through several of these areas. In each area there's a bit of a terminal that has some industrial objectives that you complete before you move on. As far as user feedback, I don't know there's much I want to say about the first 4 levels. They were just like good and fun. They're quite small, quite constrained, feels a bit like a knife fight, which I think is definitely a bonus. Maybe some of the industrial goals were a little long, and maybe there were sometimes so many corpses that it gave me UPS problems, but otherwise good times. There is a little bit of feature spillage onto Novice. The arachnids turn up here, that's not a big deal. What is a bit more of a surprise, especially if you thought you were only installing a mod planet, is that gun turrets are by default disabled here for 15 seconds while you start. So that might also be what happened on our spaceship as well, how we lost the bits there. And yeah, doesn't seem hugely motivated by the plot at all, and doesn't really seem to add much if this isn't something you wanted to be doing. Yeah, the mod does a good job of adding just enough story hooks as you go from one area to the next without having too much that might overlap destructively with any other story that any other mod is adding. It's really only the 5th area where I'm finding I have much to say, where the mod moves away from the constrained knife fights and back into this big sprawling thing, which is, like, it's trying to do an open world thing. It does successfully do the open world thing. The thing is, it brings back all of the original Factorio analysis paralysis. And yeah, if you don't have a vehicle here and you're trying to move from one objective to the other, you are in a bad place. I don't know how much World of Warcraft players decided was too far to walk back to a corpse, but we are probably in around those distances. The 5th area does have this really nice set play where you're escorting these little drones backwards and forwards and defending them from attacks as they move out towards these crystals. And if this was the entire 5th area, that probably would be the really nice knife fight vibes of the other small arenas, but they're also spread out within this open world of all these other locations that are really quite a long way apart. And that takes a lot of the energy out of what was previously these nice constrained tight areas. In these smaller, tighter areas, you're never too far away from your mall, so if you decide you need more stuff or you just run out of bullets or whatever, it's not too hard to go back to where all your stuff is. Thing is, when the map is larger, and you have to fight your way out here through a cloud of existing nests, if you discover you don't have the tools you need to fight through this, it is a long way to walk back to resupply, which, you know, is just... yeah, that's what it feels like, to be honest. You get to the waypoint and there's another fight you have to take there, and you don't find out what that is until you get there, and so if you decide at that point you don't have the right tools that you need or want, I guess you're coming all the way back again to resupply? The other slight shame is that Area 4 introduces pump jacks for the first time since Novice, and so now we have bots after having spent 4 areas building all of these bunkers ourselves, because this kind of needed to be in place before the pump jacks would live. And then we don't really have all that many opportunities to build stuff quickly under time pressure, because Area 5 in the open world takes all the time pressure away. Without going into too much of the same details again, the industrial objectives may be slightly too long note also kind of applies to the crystals. And this is even without talking about these other locations that we didn't actually have to go to. Like, we haven't interacted with this guy at all, and we just could kind of skip it. And in the open world that feels kind of fine, but in the in the escape room feels kind of bad to have a puzzle we didn't even have to interact with. Yeah, overall the fifth area has a lot of interesting stuff going on. Hostile turrets and things. Music spooked me, but that's okay. It's just these guys running at me. It's going to be fine. We can stand over here. Yeah. Yeah, and this area, like the fifth area, has a lot of good stuff going in it. I think it could be split up into several more constrained areas in a way that matched the tight arena vibe a little more. So those are my reflections and comments for Erimos Prime as it exists at the moment as a mod in progress under construction. I really enjoyed the knife fight tight arena kind of vibes. Did you play it? Did you enjoy watching it? I don't often ask for comment on my videos, but for purposes of mod feedback, this might be interesting. And yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Yeah, good times.